Let's look at an example of the binomial theorem. We want to expand x squared minus 1, the quantity, to the fifth power. So if you're really bored, you could write this out and FOIL it 5 times, but that's not exactly an idea of great time. So instead, let's use the binomial theorem here, where we know n to be equal to 5, coming from our exponent there. Our a for this example will be x squared, and our b will be equal to a negative 1. And you should have this formula in front of you to help you simplify this out. So our binomial coefficient to begin with will be 5 over 0. We take our first term, x squared to the fifth power, and for continuity's sake, I like to put in b to the 0th power, plus the next binomial coefficient, 5 over 1, times x squared to the fourth, times negative 1 to the first power. Then we're going to have plus 5 over 2, and then x squared to the third, and negative 1 to the second power. Now I'm going to sneak the next three terms underneath here. Moving right along, we have 5 over 3, and then we'll take a, which is x squared squared, times b, which is negative 1 cubed, plus the next binomial coefficient, 5 over 4, times, in this case, x squared to the first, and negative 1 to the fourth, plus then 5 over 5, our binomial coefficient, and then x squared to the 0th power, and negative 1 to the fifth. Alright, now let's try and make some sense of all this madness here. We have 5 over 0, which is simply 1, x squared to the fifth, which will give us x to the 10th. Plus, so that's addressed the first term. 5 over 1 will give us simply 5, but note that we have a negative 1 to the first, so I'm going to write that as a minus 5 out in front, x to the 10th. Plus 5 over 2, rather that's x to the 8th, let me sneak that in here. The next one we're going to have 5 over 2, which is going to give us 10, x to the 6th, and notice that's going to stay positive because we have a negative 1 squared. So that takes care of that and that. Continuing here, we're going to have a minus because it's a negative 1 cubed, negative 10 x to the fourth. I got that one. 5 over 4 is going to give us simply 5, and that's going to be a plus because our negative 1 is to the fourth, x squared. And then finally, a minus 1, remembering that x squared to the 0th power is 1, 5 over 5 is 1, negative 1 to a fifth power, that's where we get our negative. So let's tie this all together, clean it up. We're going to end up with x to the 10th minus 5 x to the 8th plus 10 x to the 6th minus 10 x to the fourth plus 5 x squared minus 1, and we've got it. We've expanded this. And this is much more enjoyable than foiling this out 5 times.